All right. So this assignment, and I'm going to give you 3 days in class to work on this: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And this assignment will actually be due Friday. In this assignment, what you're going to do is pick a famous photographer. And I'm not going to define famous. I'm going to leave that up to you. I gave you 3 different resources with a lot of photographers that exist throughout the world. Remember, when you're thinking about this photographer, think about the requirements. So the requirements for this are contained in a rubric, and you can get to that by clicking right here on the rubric. It says rubric, 3 criteria, 100 points. So when you get there, you're going to find 3 requirements. This is what I'm going to grade by. So first of all, I'm going to grade off a photographer bio. I want to know about this photographer. What's their biography? When were they born? When did they die? What are some of their personal characteristics? All these photographers have some serious backstories and why they did it. Where did they come from? What country are they from? What kind of photographic medium did they pick? Did they pick color? Did they pick black and white? Um, like Ansel Adams, one of my favorite. Everything he does is in black and white. There's a couple of colors, but generally he did black and white. There's others that do color. There's others that would only use one camera and that's it. Some of them use some old ones. Find out that. Then the photographic specialty or preference. What do they like taking pictures of? Ansel Adams liked taking pictures of Yosemite mostly. Margaret Burkwhite liked taking pictures of people. Um, these are just a couple off. Um, and in this biography, I want to know what is their most famous photo. For some of them, that's going to be tough. Um, and it's going to be sketchy. Sometimes you're going to have to go to a couple sites and then say, hey, I found these 3 that were like the most famous, but this is the one I think is most famous. And you're going to have to justify that. So that is your photography bio. That should take you 1 to 2 slides to do at most. We're not looking for an immense slideshow. So number 2 is 6 photos, not counting the most famous ones. So 6 other photos from the photographer. And so each photo, put 1 photo on the slide, and then put a little text box explaining why this photo was important. What's the story behind it? Where did it come from? What time period was it taking? Was it taken? What was the photographer trying to get across with it? Because a lot of them did that, especially if you go to a lot of the photographers that existed during the Great Depression and stuff. They had stories to tell. There are other photographers, when we get the Pulitzer Prize stuff, where um, they wanted to talk about outrage, and that was what they did. And the last thing is I'm going to grade you on your presentation itself. So it includes a minimum of theme. We talked about themes before. I'll be in tomorrow, so I can help you more on that. A title slide. So this should be a title slide. It just basically should say who your photographer is, what your name is, and maybe a picture of the photographer. That's kind of nice. Some of them, it's hard to find pictures of the original photographer because they didn't like their own picture taken. You need to have a slide with biography of the photographer. Remember that 1 or 2 slides there. Then the 6 different slides with the specific photos by that photographer. I keep saying artist because photography is a form of art. So 6 different photos and with their descriptions we talked about before. And then lastly, you need to have a slide with all the sources. That means the URLs. If you go get a picture from that artist and you use it in the thing, on that last slide, there should be a URL to that picture so that I can click on it and go see that picture. If you get information like biography about that art or that photographer, that information should be on the last slide so I can go click it and find it. That last slide is important to me. We talk about citing resources. This is where you do that and you take care of that. Make sure that you give other people credit. Take about 15 minutes and go through some of the sources. Branch out, see what you like. Some of you already know some photographers. If you don't, go through a couple of these. Some of them are quite interesting. They definitely detailed their times. So go look through it. Don't spend the whole class looking through a bunch. Don't spend the whole class trying to amuse the other people by what you found. Find a photographer and then start looking into them and get to it, okay? When you're making your slides, set up your slideshow that you've got those mandatory, 8 slides, possibly 9, that's the most. You got them in there, you can build it, and then you can start chucking things in, okay? 3 days, it's due Friday. Everyone will go over everyone else's Monday, so don't worry about having too many people check it right now. I will say Wednesday, the last day, yeah, have some others look at it, make sure you cover everything. Have fun with this one. There are some really good pictures out there. The rest of the week, we're going to go into brushes and color and do some of that. Next week, we're going to get into some of the more amusing stuff that we can do with pictures. I hope that helped and do well.